Welcome back to the Fire Emblem Awakening playthrough. Last time, we recruited Priam, the Radiant Hero, and the last of all of the Spotpass characters. This time, we're not quite going to the endgame just yet, because I'm going to do something involving the Spotpass characters right now. Actual dialogue between the Spotpass characters in this game is few and far between. So I want to show off what little dialogue that most of them have, and in order to show most of that, I actually need to go to DLC. Now, I promised that I wouldn't be doing any DLC chapters in this playthrough, and that is mostly correct. I'm not actually going to be playing this map, really. I'm only going to it for the conversations. Now, this map is, if I can find it, here we go, the Scramble series. Now, the Scramble series of maps are a set of very relatively easy maps that contain conversations between characters. I think in total most of these maps have around 200 or so extra conversations, or that could just be the whole DLC in general, but it's a lot of extra conversations, so if you like this game for the story and characters, this is definitely a recommended DLC pack, because you'll get a lot of additional dialogue. Now, the one I'm most interested in is the third one, Hot Spring Scramble, because that one contains conversations between Spotpass characters. Both Spotpass characters and each other, as well as Spotpass characters with non-Spotpass characters. And that's what I'm going to be showing here. So, I'm going to go to Hot Spring Scramble, but I'm going to actually skip all of the actual dialogue and cutscenes here, because I don't really care about the map itself. All I actually care about is who I'm bringing, and I actually might want to bring Olivia just so that certain characters can talk to 2 people per turn. Now, who I want to bring here is, I actually need Basilio for a conversation. But I don't need anyone else, so of course I'm going to bring Wildheart, I am going to bring Emerin, Yenfei, Priam, Aversa, and Gangrel. That is all 6 of them. So, this is all 6 of the Spotpass characters. Now, we also need Basilio, we need Tiki. Where is Tiki? There she is. We need Crom, who is already compulsory anyway, and Lissa. So, where's Lissa? Oh, and of course we need Cyree as well. So, where'd Lissa go? That's the problem with having so many characters. It's often hard to find where they are. There's Lissa. Okay. So with that, we have... just want to check my conversation list to see if that is indeed everybody I need. Okay, so yeah, we have Crom, we have Basilio, we have Cyree. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everyone we need. And I may as well just bring a pair-up partner for Olivia, so, Inigo actually has something special he can do in this chapter, but I'm not going to show it. I'll show that when I fully cover this DLC, and again, that will be a separate series after this series is over. And I don't really care where I put everybody exactly, because the enemies here aren't actually that difficult. See, just look at them here. They're only level 1 promoted, and most of them are... Their stats are fairly low. These Swordmasters can be somewhat annoying. You'll also notice the enemies here have various interesting skills on them. Particularly this hit rate plus 10 on the Tricksters. This is normally a Lunatic exclusive skill, but here it is on hard mode. Also, you might notice this map actually has 20 event tiles rather than just 2, so... good for if you want to get some, grind up some supports, basically. But anyway, with that, actually, I should give these characters some, some cheap, expendable weapons, because I don't want to waste any really powerful weapons on a chapter like this. Just take a steel one. Yeah, steel lance. And you're fine, you're fine. Yeah, so cheap expendable weapons are the name of the game here. Might as well give a cheap expendable weapon to Crom. And so let's go. We're not actually really going to fight. Oh yeah, and
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually
What? Mm-hmm.
Alright, they're just talking about the results of the popularity poll here. Okay, now this is the one that I want to show. So basically they're saying here that the enemy Swordmasters aren't actually going to move until turn 8. So you don't need to worry about them at all. And if you want, you can actually just snipe them from range now. But again, I'm not really here to talk about this chapter itself. I'm here to talk about the, well, talking. So as you can see, we've got various characters who display... It's a little hard to see with the Steam, but who display yellow highlighted things with other characters. That means they can, in fact, talk to them. Now, the yellow won't show up if you can't actually get to that character. So, like, as you can see here, Aversa can talk to Gangrel and Tiki. So, on the first turn, each character can talk to a certain other character. Then, starting with turn 3, that other character can speak to them. Now, you can still actually attack after talking, so what I might do here... I just need to set this up right, because I want to get as many conversations as I can here. Okay, so we have several people who can talk to Priam this turn. But Priam himself can't actually talk to anyone. Might actually send Priam over here, I guess. Also, you can hear the battle theme here, which contains Lucina's Japanese voice clips, which they didn't change in the English version, which is... Admittedly, I find that a little lazy, especially seeing as fans have actually made various remixes of this song with other voice clips of their own, so if fans could do it, why couldn't they make an official English version of this song? But anyway, the characters do get brief conversations every time they enter battle, as is the case with most DLC.
This is the end.
Okay, and that's basically all you'll be hearing of the music, because once I start initiating the conversations, which is now, I'm actually going to turn the music off, because none of these conversations actually mute the music, and in some cases, it really would make a lot of sense for them to actually do that. It's kind of annoying. The music here is a bit of a mood kill for some of the conversations, especially everything involving Emmerin. So I'm turning the music off, and I'll play appropriate music for each of the conversations. So... Yenfei and Priam.
All right. No.
Well, he hasn't actually fought at all from the last time we saw him, so this conversation feels a bit weird.
Hey.
No, he didn't use the D word. He didn't call you a dastard. That's the real D word in Fire Emblem.
What? Verily so. Got it?
So that was pretty standard. Again, you sadly don't get very much development out of Priam in these DLCs at all. But, what we do get development out of is... I should put Sairi back because she is a little weak compared to everyone else. These conversations.
Listen. All right.
Right. Fai. Nay.
Sayri.
That conversation is one of the main reasons why I even wanted to show this, because it's one of the very few times that Sayri even expresses her feelings on the whole Yanfei being her brother and yet not being her brother thing. Now, Aversa can speak to both Tiki and Gangrel, and both of them are more comedic conversations, really, so I guess I should get them out of the way soon, although... this is another thing, I can't have him talk to both these two in the same, turn, but I guess I'll just have him talk to Priam now. She may as well equip that.
Hey.
I like to think of this conversation as partially being a reference to Ike and Ashnard, maybe.
Yes.
Despite the fact that Gangrel has the same title as him, really Walhart is more similar to Ashnard in terms of his overall role in the story, even his class really, and also his personality.
Yeah. Very well.
Guys, no fighting within our army. I don't want one of you to die to something that isn't an enemy.
Prove yourself.
No team killing.
Over here.
But thankfully, Risen Attack is going to stop him from doing this. Thank you, Risen. Yeah, one of the few times I can actually say that. Okay, I guess I should move Basilio here to prepare him for, his conversation with Walhart. Now, Crom can talk to Emmerin, but I might leave the Emmerin talks until a bit later. Because Emmerin can also talk to Gangrel and to Lissa. And I do need to watch out for these Bow Knights, because they're pretty much the one thing here that's a threat to Aversa. Speaking of Aversa... I guess I could have her talk to Tiki here.
Really now?
This conversation is interesting for people who've played previous games, because it has a bit of subtle fourth wall breaking.
Listen.
And it's also a bit weird that Aversa, of all people, gets a conversation with Tiki. It doesn't really make all that much sense, but at least it gives a little bit of extra info on Tiki's side. Not much on Aversa's, sadly.
Ooh, scary.
Yeah, it's really Aversa just being jealous of Tiki always looking young.
No.
And this is the fourth wall break I was talking about. This line right here. This line is basically addressed to the players. People who played either Marth's original games or Shadow Dragon, most of them were definitely shocked when they saw how much Tiki had aged in this game. So, yeah, considering that she looked like a small child back then. So this line's pretty funny for that reason.
What?
Yeah, Marth's games were about 2,000 years ago, according to this conversation. I think they call you Hag for a different reason than your age.
Well...
And here we have another nice reference. Bantu was Tiki's, guardian, and she liked to call him her grandfather, even though he actually wasn't, from Marth's games. He also had terrible, terrible, terrible growth rates, some of the worst growth rates in the entire series. And he looked like an incredibly ancient old man, even by Manakete standards. So he must have been really old. I mean incredibly old. I'd say at least 10,000. Yeah, Tiki's about 3,000 at this point because she was around 1,000 during Marth's games, which would put her at about Noe's age, which makes a lot of sense considering Noe looks like a child now. So again, that conversation doesn't do much for Reversa, but it does explain a little bit about Tiki. Yes, we can see Tiki's Hot Spring quote. I guess they're just alluding to the fact this chapter's all about conversations. Also, all Swordmasters, you'll see this in the enemy phase when Yanfei and Sairi attack, all Swordmasters in this chapter wear a yukata. Including the enemy undead ones, which is pretty disturbing. Also, some of them have these fox masks. I wonder if you have it. I thought some of them had fox masks, at least. Or I could have been thinking of something else. Anyway, more conversations time. Let's do Crom and Emerin now.
Listen.
Huh?
Well, that whole Hot Spring speeding recovery from wounds and illnesses is definitely true in Kid Icarus Uprising. This line is actually kind of funny for me, because I once had an actual kitten fall in the bath, and I had to pull it out.
No. Good.
And I guess we can do Emerin and Listen now.
Hey! Huh? Huh? Oh.
Hold on, I'm coming.
I didn't know they actually played Crom's voice clip for that line. That's all I'll say about that. As much as that conversation's more comedic than actually dramatic, it is nice seeing Emerin actually share light-hearted moments with her family now, considering what's happened. And now I just need to take you out. Gangrel's battle quote is interesting too.
What's this?
So yeah, more confirmation that Gangrel basically sees himself as trash. Now, who do I want to get one more conversation? Actually, I need to make sure that Olivia is still protected. Now, unfortunately, the enemy ranges don't really work too well here. Actually, I don't think I can really refresh anyone safely, so I'll just end the turn. And again, I'm going to skip these because for the most part, I'm actually going to quit out of this chapter after I get all the conversations because, again, I'm not allowing any DLC in this playthrough. And this line's kind of funny when you see, you'll see. Oh, that would have been really hilariously ironic if Walhart had actually dual guarded that.
Crush them all!
Ugh, stop doing that, you stupid cowards. Oh, hi, Random Entombed. You're gonna completely make an impact. Yeah, you'll also get a few Seed of Trust drops here.
Prove yourself!
11 damage with the Silver Bow is pretty pathetic, actually. Of course, this is kind of annoying. Interesting.
A meager effort. Don't you die.
Walhart once again comically overreacting to things in DLC chapters. Yeah, you should see his reaction in the exponential growth one against the vegetable stealing Risen. That is hilarious. Okay, another conversation.
Yes? Yes. Oh, great.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Huh? Amusing. Very well. Huh. Hell no. No.
And Walhart did get the last word.
Strap in. This is nature.
And this level up is not going to count, sadly. Any other conversations that I need to do? Okay, Versa and Gangrel, and I think that's all. Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, I'm actually saving Gangrel and Emerin to last, so... yeah, I'll be doing that one later. Why is Priam being his partner and not, Sairi? Well, I'm guessing they don't even have hot springs in the future.
Forget someone? Fine work.
Grima probably turned them into rivers of fire or something. I need to heal some people. Well, let's smash you.
Stay close. Thanks.
Basilio thanking Walhart, who knew? Okay, a few more of these guys incoming. They all have Levin swords. But Basilio is out of range of all of them, which is good. Well, I guess we haven't seen Crom's quote here yet. Not really that much to this one.
Your end has come.
Okay, so I have this one. So, Gangrel and Aversa's conversations are basically what happens when a villain meets a another villain who used to work for them but betrayed them, and now both villains are reformed and are in the same army. Well, we did fight her more times than we fought Gangrel.
Well.
What?
Hmm.
Huh.
Why, yes.
Pugh.
And might as well just attack one of these sword masters. And I forgot she had Gale Force. Okay, again, I am saving that conversation for turn 3, where I can actually do both of them in one go.
Thanks.
And who else needed healing? Gangrel needs slight healing. I don't need to worry about my staff usage because, again, this chapter is not going to count. And sadly, this level up is not going to count either. And I think that's all the conversations I can do for now. One dead risen, another dead risen, well, re-dead, another dead risen, and one more. And a 5th one for good measure. Okay, now, would you please stop interrupting my conversation time? So, on the 3rd turn, the other character can... has to initiate the conversation. So in this case, I'll go with... Okay, I'll save that one for last. Priam as 2. Okay, I'll go with this one.
Listen. What? Hey.
Verily so.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen.
My thanks.
Well, I guess these conversations aren't totally devoid of character development after all. That actually surprised me. Okay, now I guess... we can have Basilio speak to Wildheart.
Oh, great.
That whole routine feels like the whole, there's a gunshot and you think someone's been shot, but actually they shot the person behind them who was trying to stab them in the back.
Hold on.
Well, yeah, I don't think Wildheart was in danger here. He's pretty, just, you can see his stats right now.
A meager effort. Yes. All right. Very well.
Oh, really? I think Basilio has something special in mind here.
All right. Huh. What?
Well, if Fluffy is any indication, this is pretty much true.
What? Let's see what you got.
I love that line. So, yeah, not really all that much new info there, but it is kind of an amusing conversation. Again, I'm saving that one. Okay, Emerin can now talk to Crom. Yeah, which I'll do over here. Actually, wait. Tiki can now talk to Aversa. I'll do that one now.
Listen.
Well, we pretty much know that by now.
Why, yes. I see. Huh? Well. Huh? Oh.
You've been talking to Tharia, haven't you?
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to scar a Manakete for life. No, you knew true horror back then. You knew Bantu's growth rates. Sorry, I had to.
Really now?
And more of, well, this.
Nah?
Aye, that be true, but you're, blathering, cross-eyed... Wait a minute, I'm sure I've done that before.
Well.
What?
Oh. Hmm.
Oh?
Real mature, Gangrel, real mature.
Listen.
Huh?
Listen to me.
Oh.
Still. Sister.
Don't cry.
Thank you.
Don't you just wish that she could actually support her siblings? Speaking of which...
Huh? Oh. Huh? Huh? Mm-hmm. Oh. Right. Hey, thanks.
I think I'll save the two most emotional conversations for the next turn. Yeah, unpromoted reinforcements, really? That's all this chapter's gonna throw at us. Anyway, yeah, here's the two most really important conversations of this whole video.
Yanfei.
Nay.
Nonetheless.
Sayri. It had to be done.
Fei.
Listen.
Yanfei!
I no longer have a sister. All right.
Yanfei.
Now do you see why I muted the music for this video? That just... the normal music that plays during this chapter just completely ruins that. But anyway, now it's time for the one that I really, really wanted to show.
Huh? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't cry.
What? Huh?
Oh.
I admit that that conversation almost made me cry the first time I saw it, and that does not happen often, so that's really saying something. Now, that was the last thing that I wanted to show in this chapter, but I just want to see if I can get Emrin's, if I can get one of Emrin's battle conversations here. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay, so she doesn't really say all that much. Okay, now with that I can turn the music back on. And let me just check, that was everything, wasn't it? Oh wait, no, wow, that was a good thing that I checked that, because otherwise I would have missed something. Priam and Walhart. And, well, I've still got this music on, which is annoying. So again, not really all that much development for Priam, though it does beg the question. It almost feels like Walhart would have at least tried to recruit Priam into his army at some point during the Val War, so... yeah, you'd think we would have at least seen that, but with that, I am pretty sure that now we've done every conversation here. So, that's actually all I wanted to show with this chapter, but that's actually not the end of this video. There's one more thing that I want to show, and I think this video is the best time to show it. Okay, so here we are in the support log, most specifically Gangrel's support log. I grinded Gangrel to an A with a male avatar in a separate file, so I could show these conversations because I feel they're a lot better than the conversations between him and female avatar. They give so much more development, and they even expand on this game's backstory a lot more, so enjoy these.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Huh? Huh? Yeah. Well... Huh? Mm-hmm.
So, this actually finally gives explanation as to why Gangrel was actually doing what he did. He actually did it out of an attempt to stop Walhart. He felt that if he could unite all of the continent of Yillis into one empire, maybe they could stand against him. But yeah, even he admits he was blinded by the circumstances and he ended up taking things way too far when the power went to his head. So that's already more interesting than the female avatars see. Now, just one slight thing that I want to point out, because on my original file I've been used to playing the final few chapters, seeing my male avatar creeps me out at the moment because I'm used to him being Grima.
Mm-hmm. Hey. Huh? Yeah.
Because we're main characters.
What? Yeah. Brutal. I love it. Well... All right. Mm-hmm. Huh? Huh? Yeah.
Would you believe that you get none of that in his supports with the female avatar? No dwelling on his past actions, no expressions of remorse, nothing? But anyway, here's the A support.
What's this? Oh. Whoa.
And here's something else that you don't get any trace of in the female avatar supports, which is why I wanted to show this.
No.
You actually get a bit of backstory as to how the Grimleal faith actually worked.
I see. Huh?
This line, interestingly enough, when the game was just out in Japan, this line was subject to a lot of mistranslations, probably more like misinterpretations. I can tell it's quite easy to interpret the line this way. Initially, when people first translated this support from Japanese, people thought that what this meant was the people of Plegia were literally forced to worship Grima. As in, it's not that they turned to the faith because they were desperate, they were actually forced to. That's not actually true, but I can see why a line like this would be ambiguous in the original Japanese, and I can see why people would misinterpret it that way. Yeah, it was more the circumstances that drove them to it out of desperation, rather than actually being physically forced to worship Grima. Like, yeah, that's what people initially thought when they first translated these.
Oh. Huh? All right.
And this is also an interesting angle to the support. Basically, it shows that the people in Crom's army want to help Plegia just as much as they want to help everyone else. And yeah, this is another angle that you don't see at all in the female avatar supports with Gangrel.
Yeah. Brutal. I love it. Yeah.
And again, the whole redemption thing, not in the female avatar supports at all. So, yeah, you can tell why I like the male ones better here. It's just... I feel it's unfair to players who have female avatars that you don't get any of that backstory, any of that explanation of why Gangrel started the war, the explanation of more on how the Grimly will work. None of that at all. Just, it's really annoying. But anyway, that's basically all I wanted to show here. So, next time in the Fire Emblem Awakening playthrough, it's time for the final chapter at last. Yes, it's really time. I don't really have much else to say, except